right, ladies and gentlemen, the Just Acting Up Show has a special guest here in the building. We have Miss Arischa Conner. Hand clap, applause, applause, applause.
Applause, applause.
I got the name right. I got the name right. Got it right. Arischa. Got it. I'm gonna start doing that whenever I say name fancy. Got hold up the pinky and everything. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I cannot complain because I woke up and I'm able to go through another day, so I'm fabulous.
That's good.
Amen and amen again. I love it. I love it. Love the glasses, by the way, too.
Thank you. I hope they're not too glary. Look, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, my eyes, it takes them a minute to, match my face. So glasses. Glasses today.
Yeah, yes, indeed. You absolutely right. I told you I got to get my glasses too. You reminded me what I need to do in my life. Get my life right.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness gracious. So let's go ahead and get started. So, who or what inspired you to start your journey into acting?
Okay, so I have long stories that I will try to keep short because my
It's all
husband tells
good.
me all the time, you talk too much. I said, okay, just answer the question. I said, okay. So long story short, growing up, I always wanted to be a singer. I thought I was going to be the next Stacey Lattisaw. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but she sang the song back in the day, "Let Me Be Your Angel." Anyway, let's fast forward 30 years, almost 40 years. And I was also a teacher working in a school district, and we had a district choir. I was a member of the district choir. The director was directing a local play in my town, in my city, in Columbia, South Carolina. So he was like, hey, I want you to audition for this play. And I was like, okay, because it's a singing play. It was Smokey Joe's Cafe. So I auditioned for the play. I got a part in the play. I absolutely loved the experience. I remember the closing night. We had sold out shows every night. Closing night, I was in tears because it was about to end. And it was at that time, and I was in my late 30s, maybe early 40s. No, I think I was in my late 30s. I decided at that moment that I wanted to find out more about acting and what it was because of that feeling. Everybody was just so happy, and to be able to make a whole bunch of people feel joyous because of the story that you're telling. That's what sold me. And so from there, I just started researching. I'm a researcher. We had a local playwright in town. Her name was Tangi Beatty. She saw me in the show, invited me to come and audition for a stage play she was doing. So I went from Smokey Joe's Cafe, which was all singing, to doing a stage play. And it was that's where it started for me.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Like I could longer, but yeah, that's how it started.
So you like the stage play? I mean, was that something that you was going to continue to go down that route?
Well, I auditioned for the stage play. It was called Yesterday Is Still Gone. And if you Google it, you can find it. It's on YouTube. You can buy the DVD. That's a story too. But when I auditioned for the play, I was an understudy, which is cool. A lot of people like understudy. And I was like, I had never acted on stage like that before. It was my first time. So I was like, fine, okay, I'm understudy. I was trying to do my best. But at that point, I had never taken an acting class, except for in college. Like college years before, I had taken like one acting class in the two colleges that I went to. And there were other actors on the set who had agents. And so I was, following them and kind of studying them and seeing what they had. That's how I learned about what a headshot was, what an agency was, and what it does for you. And what I was just trying to figure out what you needed to do to get into this thing that I was falling in love with. And as an understudy, the night that they did my show, I did one show. They had camera crews there. So with the camera crews, technically, when they filmed the show the night I was on, technically that was the better film for them. So the night that I did, it got picked up by Maverick Movies. And so that's why you can find it everywhere. And that was my first experience into, stage play acting. So after that, I think I might have done maybe 2 more plays after that. But then, like I said, I was researching. By that time I got me some headshots. I had gotten an agent, and then I started delving more into the film and TV and trying to get the commercial work. So after I did that, I think that 3rd stage play, I didn't do any more after that. But I do direct now. Like I'm with that same company, and we have a play coming out at the end of the month that I'm directing. So yeah.
Nice.
That's amazing. We're gonna definitely have to make sure that we promote your play that you have coming out.
Thank you.
Now, I show here that you're AKA, right?
I am.
In the Divine Nine, yeah. So how did just the experience within your sorority in college just prepare you for like the career you have now?
When I pledged graduate chapter, so I pledged way, way, way late, because when I was in college, I went to 2 colleges. I went to Hampton University, and when I was in Hampton, I had such a good time. Oh my gosh. I was on the band. I was singing in a jazz band. Y'all, I was supposed to sing backup for Aretha Franklin one summer, but my grades were so bad. My dad was like, no, you are never going back because you ain't doing your work. Eventually, I was academically dismissed after 4 years of just having a good time. And then I went to Claflin University. So everything was at a standstill for me. I couldn't have pledged if I wanted to when I was, I did not pledge grad chapter. What am I talking about? I couldn't have pledged if I wanted to at Hampton. But when I went to Claflin, I, got my life together. That's where I pledged. I'm in a graduate chapter now as a member. I'm an active member, but I pledged at Claflin, spring 95, the 13 Sassy Sisters of Savoir Faire. What's up, girls? My sisters. But, I think especially with acting, I think that any experience that you have from birth until present day can be used in your experience. And I say that, I'm going to say how one thing came full circle for me. Not only do I act, a part of my acting is doing audiobook narration. And I narrated a book. Oh my goodness. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I narrated a book. And that book was about 4 friends who met at Hampton University. And so the book referenced, there's this thing in Hampton called Ogden Circle. And it says, if you walk across Ogden Circle as a freshman, you won't graduate. And I walked across Ogden Circle as a freshman. So it's just all of the experiences that you have in your life, in your mind, it's like a Rolodex that you can pull from. So being a member of a sorority, being on a choir, whatever your experience is, I feel like, especially in acting, you have to, pull from those experiences in order to authentically portray whatever character you're portraying. Like, for example, I used to work in the summers. My father's a dentist. He's still a dentist in Florence, South Carolina. And I used to work as his receptionist in the office every summer, during the summer. When we couldn't find a job, my dad's like, y'all gonna work. So I worked as a receptionist. And what's cool is when I did Dopesick, which is an Emmy Award-winning show that was on Hulu, when I did Dopesick, I worked as a nurse. When I walked into the office the first day on set, I was like, oh, wow. It reminded me of being a receptionist in my father's office during the summers when I was in high school. So I just feel like all experiences can help with, in the career that I'm in now, in acting, audiobook narrating, acting, film, TV, all of our experiences. So AKA is a big part of my experience, but I can also pull from that.
And yeah, that was I love that movie. Well, it was a TV show, a miniseries. Yeah. Yes, I love that movie. Michael Keaton and everyone did a good job. Now let's go back to you when singing. So you sing as well too, right?
I do.
If you want to be close to Aretha Franklin, so you obviously know how to get down. With that being said, what do you do on your downtime?
What do I? That's a good question. I'm trying to think of what my downtime is. What'd you say? My husband is, I hope you didn't hear him. Get out of my interview. His handle was IG. Because I listen, I'm a phone person. I'm on my phone all the time. And I try, I have like things that I like to do. Like I have ukuleles. I have 4 of them. I've got a soprano, concert, baritone, and a bass ukulele. Because I used to talk about bass ukulele all the time. My husband bought me a bass ukulele. I was taking ukulele lessons. So like when I'm not like watching TV, because I love TV. If I'm not watching, you gotta love it if you want to be on it. I love TV. I love going to the movies, y'all. Movies is like, I love going to the movies, going to the theater, eating some popcorn and some corn dog nuggets. So if I'm not watching TV or on Instagram, as my husband says, because I do like Instagram, I like to watch the videos. And I'll play my ukuleles. I was taking classes. I love to play when I'm out, if I'm able to drive to a set, I'll take my ukuleles with me and keep them in the hotel sometimes and just, play. And then I work with Wow Productions, which is a theater company here in my local city. I help with the acting classes and, getting together with their plays. I will support in some way. And they have a show that's on Tubi, Secrets in Plain Sight. Like I helped with casting with that, and I helped with second AD. Just keeping busy in some realm, but it's all centered around with me saying it now, I'm like, oh wow, everything is centered around entertainment because I just love it. I just love creative adventures of any kind. So
nice.
I love that. I love that, and so that's why I was curious because I was like, when we was doing a little bit of research on you, I saw that you studied biological science and technology as well.
I did. So when I was a teacher, I taught 8th grade science for the longest time. And then I got my master's and my EDS, my ed specialist in instructional technology. So I worked at the district level, and I used to train teachers how to integrate technology into the classroom. And I did that for about 12 years. And I was an instructional coach as well. And then they closed down our department. But, and this is, let me tell this just a little quick tidbit, because it's like, I did this play. It was a documentary theater piece, documentary being that it was based on the real words of people. We just reiterate, talked about in their words, we performed in their words. And the name of it was Misery is Optional. And it's about 40 people in active recovery from drugs and alcohol. Put a pin in that. And as I was doing this piece, I was like, I really want to take some time off. There was a word in the play that stuck out to me. It was like leap, God's the net. It wasn't my line, it was somebody else's. And so there was a tugging in me to, take a year off to explore acting full time, because you'll get I would get an audition. Y'all know I got an audition. I think it was like in Pittsburgh or something, and it was during the first after my department closed. I went back into the classroom. So I was in the classroom for 2 years, but I had this tug on me, Arisha, take a year off. And so when my department closed, you would have thought I would have taken the hint. It was like, hey, this is your thing. Take this year off. Your department is closing. But I was like, no, I need security. So I went into the classroom, but it was still tugging at me. And that leap, God's the net, was always in my head. And so I used to do my auditions, y'all, in my classroom. I wish I could show you some of them. They were terrible. My kids would take bulletin board paper. I have a student on this side, holding up bulletin board paper behind me. My kids would be my readers. The line, I want you to walk down the street, I was 8th grade, but they don't know. Oh my gosh, my auditions were terrible. I'm surprised that I still get pulled in by those casting offices. They were so bad, but all of that was like leap, take the leap. So I decided, okay, before I turn 50, I am going to take 1 year off. My husband was very supportive of me. I'm going to take 1 year off and really pursue this thing full time because there were lots of things I couldn't do. So I took the year off. When I decided to take the year off, I did not turn in my contract. March of that year, shut down. Everything shut down, pandemic. And I was teaching about COVID at that time. And my kids were telling me, Miss Fry, that's what they call me, Miss Fry, we about to, be out of school. Everything shut down. But what that did for me as an actress is it opened the door because you could take classes anywhere now because everybody was on Zoom. So I started taking classes in LA. I had been studying with Christine Horn. This is her shirt. I'd been studying with her, but I took some other classes in LA. And y'all, that's when I booked Swagger. After Swagger, I booked Dopesick. After Dopesick, it was the last days of Ptolemy Gray. So I was like, I started booking after I took that leap. And on my 50th birthday, I was in LA on set for a show that was streaming on Paramount Plus called Players. And I'll never forget it because the whole cast and crew, there was another guy, his name is Eli. He was one of the leads on that show. It was his birthday too. The whole cast, and we're in the middle of a scene now. I'm about to say, ready to say my lines, got my face on. And a young man who plays my son, Dejure Jones is his name, started singing happy birthday. And I was like, oh, it's a happy birthday. Not realizing that the whole cast and crew started singing happy birthday to us. And what a full circle moment for me, because I took that leap. I took that chance. And because I wanted to do it before I was 50. And on my 50th birthday, I'm on set in LA. You know what I'm saying? And so I haven't gone back. I'm still out. I'll be 52 this year. Still doing it, still kicking. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
amazing because a lot of people will not take their leap, and a lot of people will try to kind of like straddle the fence and still kind of, I mean, sometimes you have to, depending on, what you're doing and where you are and who's depending upon you, right?
Yeah.
But some people won't take the leap of faith. And it's like sometimes until we take that leap of faith, that's when we see our maximum potential.
Definitely. I 100% agree. And for me, like my daughter, when she graduated from college, that gave me the opportunity, because I wasn't paying for, college anymore. It freed me up to be, I don't have her depending on me. It's me and my husband now. And now I was able to depend on him, to give me that leeway. And he's just so supportive. And I know a lot of people lack that, they might have people who don't feed into their dreams, they're dream killers. And I'm blessed to have family that's like super duper supportive. My husband he's supportive.
Let's give a hand clap for the husband over there.
Craig Carson. You had a lot, Craig.
MVP of it all. Yes.
It's good to be able to just to look back on the journey that you go through. Like we've all been there because we're all actors, and those few auditions are kind of rough. We actually did a sketch ourselves called Bad Act, where we were just kind of, a little joking a little bit about just terrible auditions that we may have had in the past. And so it's good to be able to look back to where you've been to where you are now. I do have a question about, now you shared the screen with like Samuel L. Jackson and Dominique Fishback and Ptolemy Gray. Do you ever get starstruck or nervous when you start meeting famous people?
Now, I'll tell you, Samuel L. Jackson is my favorite actor. And he's my favorite actor for a lot of reasons, because like when he first started, he was like, put me in this movie, put me in the, he was like getting all that experience. And then he's such a strong character anyway. And the way that he is, when we see him, that's just the way that he is. So but when I was on set, because, my scenes in Ptolemy Gray are with him. And when I was in Dominique Fishback, and when I was in Bats Bradford, Martin, I think his name is Martin Bats Bradford. He's amazing too. But when I saw Samuel L. Jackson, I was a little nervous. I was. But he was talking, like there were a lot of background extras in those scenes, but he's talking and making everybody feel comfortable, making everybody laugh, you know, and that was relaxing. And I'm standing at the table, like between sets, between you know, before they say action, I'm standing at the table. He's talking, Martin is talking, Dominique is talking. They're just, you know, just talking. I'm standing there like, this is Samuel Jackson. Okay, okay. And then he said something. He talked about what his favorite movie was, and then I kind of, you know, got into the conversation a little bit myself. And he's just so. He was just really nice and really open. He's approachable, and it made it easy for me to feel comfortable because he's just very approachable. Like there was this one scene, there was a line, and they were having a discrepancy over my line. He was like, "Listen, honey, just say ABCD, and we're gonna do that. All right, move on. Y'all ready? We ready, baby? You ready? Let's go." You know. You know, just makes you feel really comfortable. And it's the same thing with Michael Keaton, like, because I've been watching him, you know, growing up. You know, in all his movies, but he was very nice too. Like he would come over, "Hey, Arisha, how you doing today? Are you reading a book? What you reading?" "Oh, okay, that sounds real nice. Yeah, yeah, sounds real." You know, you're just having conversation, and it feels like that was a moment for me, like an aha moment, because we're having these conversations, even with Will Poulter, we're having these conversations offset. And when we go on set and the cameras are rolling, it's like an extension of our conversations. It's like us just continuing to have a conversation. We're just, okay, we have a character name now. We're really ourselves having a conversation with this character's name attached to us. So yeah, it can, I'm sure that it can be like, oh my gosh, but when you're working with people who make you feel comfortable, it just makes you feel like you're at home and you're in the right place.
True. And that impression of Michael Keaton was spot on.
It was. I haven't too long watched one of his movies that he did called Spotlight, and I swear that sounds just like him.
Right, I'm telling you, it's just to hear them talk, like even Samuel L. Jackson, like, y'all, Samuel L. Jackson is a trip, but just to hear him talk, y'all, and then start talking on screen, it's just like, it's just, they're really authentically being themselves in this, you know, just in different circumstances. Yeah.
It's funny too that you were in the film with them. We had another guest on here that was in the same film as well too, and I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I was like, I went to New York and I saw him and a handful of others in the piano lesson. And you're absolutely right, because like I'm just sitting there, I'm looking, I'm like, I'm in watching a play with Samuel Jackson, but it's like everyone are like, they're just like really, that whole play was just amazing and phenomenal, and I love seeing everyone in their element. So I'm like living through you, how you are on set. Just like, wait a minute, I'm right here with Samuel Jackson and all these people. So I know that was amazing.
Oh yeah. And then you just realize, you know, they're people just like me. Now I'm sure that there are people. I've not had the experience where I've ever met someone on set who was like really mean or not nice.
Right.
I have been lucky, I guess, because I've heard horror stories, but I've never had a bad experience with anyone on set.
Yeah, same thing with us. We haven't had any experience like that. I know it's coming, but you know.
I'm not receiving that for myself. It's always going to be great.
It's coming.
You said, don't speak that over here.
So talk to us and tell us. So now you say you direct as well too, right?
Huh?
You said you direct as well too and teach as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell us about like how you personally as a director, are you the director that's like really into details, or like how are you as a director?
Oh my gosh, I think that'd be a question that you'd ask the cast, because they say that I am stern. That's not the word they use. But I mean, I feel like when we're here, number one, we're here to work, y'all. We have time to play in 18 hours of the day, but when we're at rehearsal, let's work. Let's, you know, get this done. So I try to do some improv, you know, with them in their characters so that they can connect to the characters. Because to me, it's about the feeling, you know, because in the play that we're doing now, it's called The World You Left Behind, and it's about, oh gosh, I can't give too much away.
Don't get too much away now.
No, it's about a family that is going through turmoil, but normally you're used to the father leaving the family. But this one is based on the mother. She left. And what happens when she comes back 10 years later, trying to get her family back? But is she really trying to get her family back? So it has a lot of different levels and a lot of different things that we're going through. So I just try to work with the cast to really connect with that character. I mean, years ago, when I first started, I was taught to do, the character work. So, writing a paragraph about your character and, giving all the little details. And that's something that I like, especially newer actors to do. If this is your first time on stage, do that, do those things. Like I can do that in my head now. I can really sit and just visualize and put myself in those spaces. But when you're beginning, sometimes you can't do that. And with our theater company, we invite beginners and we help to train them and show them you can do this. You know what I'm saying? You can do this. Right. And so as a director, I just try to make sure that they understand who their characters are and connect to those characters and don't put on when you're portraying the character. Be authentically you. Bring your experiences, like you asked me earlier. Bring your experiences and your background into the character. Like we have understudies, and I tell the understudies, don't try to do what she's doing. Do you. You're two different people with two different experiences. When you're on stage, you're going to bring us something different, and that's the beauty of it. So I just try to get the actors to really connect to that character, the feeling of the character. Just like I said, doing different games to kind of get them in that feel of who that character is, but who that character is inside of them. Because I think a lot of times people will get a character and they'll judge it. Like if I got one that's a crackhead, you know what I'm saying? I can't judge that. But I know, I can go back into the Rolodex of my experiences and think of sometimes I've seen a crackhead before, you know what I'm saying? And then think about, well, how do you think they were feeling? What were they going through? We've all had pain in our life. We've all had suffering in our life. We just, experience it or go through that process differently. And for a crackhead, it could be that was their way out. Acting might be somebody else's way out. So there's a thin line between all of our experiences. And I just try to make sure the actors, in the play understand that and don't judge it. Let's find how you can connect to it so that we can see that connection when we're watching you on stage.
Oh, that's some great advice. I did my first stage play last year in October. And I was telling Joff and the guys on the show, I was like, this is different. This is not like like just, getting up there, learning some lines, and act, and then you get like, because you're in front of people. And my very first stage play, I had to cry and literally just be emotionally open. What advice do you give for people who have to who have to cry? And that's like on a totally different level for me, because I mean I can bring out the emotion, but to actually have tears come out, I mean that's different. That's like on a whole nother level for me. Well, it was.
To me, there are so many different strategies that you can use to connect and be emotional. Like it was a block for me for a minute. And like I said, I keep saying Christine because Christine was the person who, one of the people, I think she was one of maybe 2 or 3 people that really helped me make a breakthrough in my acting. And one of the things that I had problems with was crying. And working with her and just opening yourself. And I worked with Diane Charles from Margie Haber Studios. Diane really helped me in working with empathy. We studied empathy, and it really opened me up. And I found myself crying all the time. Just understanding and taking a deep dive within will help you to open up when you're with others. Y'all, I was a crybaby for a long time after that doggone class.
Yeah.
And just so what I would say to people is one thing that, you know, studying several methods, substitution, that was part of the Chubbuck method, you know, thinking of something that is not traumatic. I don't like anybody to pull anything that's too traumatic from their lives, because sometimes they can't pull it out of that.
Yeah.
And I think that it could just bring the trauma back. So I would say don't use anything traumatic, but like, if there's a memory that you have, and it can be a happy memory. Like when I was doing Dopesick, and it was the scene where I had to turn Michael Keaton in, and we were in the hospital. And it goes to me, there are tears coming from my eyes, because I was thinking of happy times with my father. My father is still here, but I was just thinking when I was a little girl, and we would listen to Easy Like a Sunday Morning. We go to the park. We just had some happy times, and it's emotional for me. But when I'm crying, you know, I'm thinking about, you can think about just about anything that pulls it out for you. And I also did some sensory work where you like embed feelings into some type of trigger for you. And that works well for me as well. But there's just so many various methods out there. But number one, if you really, really, truly connect to that character, and you've done the work on who that character is, and in that moment, you lose yourself so much in that character that the moments on that stage are real for you and that character in that moment, that feeling will come. It will come out. Like I did a stage play, I was playing a woman who's my husband had passed, but me and my best friend had been best friends for 20 years. But I found out that she slept with my husband, and her first child is actually my deceased husband's child. You know, and so in those moments, like when I'm talking to her, like I could bring that emotion, because I could, it was like she was my friend. You know, you kind of, you know, look at their face, and like over the course of time, you were my friend, you know, just embedding those thoughts in your mind and those feelings. So I was able to do that because I was like, you're my friend, and you know. So because I was like so into the character, and I knew her, you know, and you do little things. Like I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm gonna wrap it up. But you do little things when you're on set, like talking to her, befriending her, you know, maybe touching her arm, and as you get older, every day you come to set hugging her, and you know, and you're building that relationship not only with the person that you're in the scene with, but with the character, you know, the kind of relationship that you and the character have. And over the course of all these weeks that you're rehearsing, you get on stage, it just feels that more real. And so when you're in that moment, you're able to bring it because it just feels so real. Like, you did what? You know, even now I can get a little emotional, just a little bit, because I just remembering that moment, how real I made it feel for myself. And then going off the stage and hugging her again, you know, so that you don't stay in that, you know, you hug her, girl, I love you. We did that, didn't we? You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the act, because I had to cry on the scene, but I went to the traumatic side, and I'm like, I got it, I'm good. You know, they said I did a good job. I was on a high, but then the next day I was supposed to go to work. I didn't go back to work till 3 days later. You know, it hits you like, wow, like,
yeah.
So that's good methods to use. Other than that,
Yes.
those doors are closed for a reason. And but what I wanted to ask you, one more question. Someone approaches you and asks you, what is acting to you? What is your response?
Acting to me is so many things. It's able to tell the stories of those who are underrepresented, because there are so many stories out there, and we don't see a whole lot of our faces, but we have stories too. And when I'm able to tell a story from a perspective, even if I'm the only Black person on that set, I'm telling that story from the perspective of a Black person. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just to be able to tell the stories of the underrepresented, number one. To be able to make connections with people and change people's lives. In my mind, that's something that's at the forefront for me. Most of the stories that I've told, they're comedic stories too, but they're stories that can actually change people's lives. Like I think about Dopesick. People don't know what Dopesick means,
right,
and how a lot of people who became addicted to OxyContin, what happened. And it happened because the pharmaceutical companies were only concerned about money.
Yeah.
So it opened people's eyes to what that really meant. To be dope sick didn't mean that they were just addicts. It meant that that drug made them so sick that in order for them to try to make themselves feel better, they got more of that drug. That's what dope sick means. You know what I'm saying? And it was educational. Even Ptolemy Gray, Samuel L. Jackson is really big with the Alzheimer's movement. I had a grandmother who passed away from Alzheimer's. So to be able to even give somebody the idea that for a moment they could remember. I mean, I just think that those things are just so inspirational to me. And so to be able to tell stories that really touch people's lives. And when I watch movies, y'all, I love Marvel movies. One day I would love to do a Marvel movie. I remember going to see the one where, Thanos does the snap. Y'all, when I walked out the movie theater, I was mad. Yeah. But that's what a movie does. It takes you away from the madness or the sadness or whatever is going on in your life for 2 hours, 3 hours. It's like you're taken away and you're not thinking about that. You're actually in, that movie. That's how when I watch a movie, I'm in it. My mouth is open. I'm like, and my husband's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm so in it. And for those moments, you're able to just escape whatever is going on in your life. And I love that ability to be able to do that for other people. I love that ability to be able to allow you to escape for a moment and really feel and become a part of a story. That's what I love about acting.
Beautifully said.
That's amazing.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. We really appreciate you. We gotta get you come back on again too.
Okay, listen. Now, let me tell you, I got my first lead role in a movie. It's a Christmas film. That's all I can say. It hasn't been released yet. So when that comes out, if y'all want bring me back, please bring me back, because I would love to talk. It was the best experience. I would love to be able to talk about it then. I just can't say nothing about it right now.
Right. we know how that is. We know. Most definitely will reach out to you during that time, during Christmas time as well too.
Oh yeah.
You have been a joy. You have been a treat. We thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story with us. And most definitely, we'll have you come on again.
Oh, thank y'all so much. And let me say, I wish each one of you success. Continue to be your wonderful, authentic selves. Thank you for creating a platform where artists like me can come and share, because a lot of times people feel like that they don't know what to do, where to go, or how to go. But when you have a group of young people such as yourselves coming and bringing this knowledge and allowing other actors, you're opening doors for people that you probably don't even realize. So y'all, I'm getting emotional now. I told you, she opened that door.
Make me proud of here, man.
Let it come on out. Let it come on out. We appreciate
it. Just know you are appreciated. Thank you for having me. I am just thankful, and keep doing what you do. Thank you. Thank you.